Welcome to Learning Lovecraft with Ken James and Jason McKittrick, brought to you by Cryptocurium.
The scream of a dead man gave to me that acute and added horror of Dr. Herbert West, which harassed the latter years of our companionship. It is natural that such a thing as a dead man's scream should give horror, for it is obviously not a pleasing or ordinary occurrence. But I was used to similar experiences, hence suffered on this occasion only because of a particular circumstance. And, as I have implied, it was not of the dead man himself that I became afraid.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another episode of Learning Lovecraft. I'm your host, Jason McKittrick, and joining me, as always, the traveler of the Eldritch Path, Mr. Ken James.
Good evening.
And welcome to part 2 of Herbert West-Reanimator, getting into the nitty-gritty of it by our boy H.P. Lovecraft. More of a man, not a boy.
Yeah. Right, so like I tend to do, here's my little opening spiel. This second half here, man, look, man, here's where the story, if it does become an adaptation, here's where it gets epic. There is epic parts, but it does such a great job of telling you what horrors are abound and what's going on behind the scenes, because in the earlier stuff, he does put you in time frames of what's going on, like there's that epidemic and there's all this stuff. So now we're up into another a big event, a big war comes up, and it's so cool that we get, once again, I was making the Forrest Gump jokes earlier, but it kind of has that vibe of like, we're in this time, and this guy always finds his way to weasel himself into what's going on for his end game.
Right. No, it's absolutely true, and I think we can, I think we're going to expect some more of that, I don't know, reprehensible ghoulishness in part 2.
But on such a grand scale. It has to be a new word, because a ghoul is, were the people that just went and were robbing graves. This becomes like, is that what you think a ghoul is? Ghoul.
Wait till we get to some stories.
Okay, but like this is like a mecha ghoul, or like uber ghoul at this point. Like
the
you're
uber
like
ghoul,
you're like
Ra's
al Ghul. I don't
know.
Hey, no. But it takes such a grandiose turn, which I was just like, bring it on, man.
Yeah,
like let's go.
Howard is clearly having a good time here, even though he says, "Nah, I didn't like it. I took the $5 per chapter, but I'm not going to like it."
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
All right, so let's dive back in. We've got the next section.
The scream of the dead.
So here we are again. We get another long recap, pulling it in all the details from the original, and sometime after West's killing of the reanimated boxer that we left off with last time, the narrator returns home from a vacation in Illinois at his parents' house to discover West in this peculiar state of elation. All right, West explains that during the narrator's absence, he perfected a type of embalming fluid that, I guess, like perfectly preserved the corpse, like immediately.
So, like it stops cellular degeneration and cuts off rigor mortis. So it's like just an animated state of like, I almost want to say like antifreeze or something. It's just like some kind of thing that makes sure nothing breaks down. Right.
It's almost like some kind of like plastic or something. Like it just completely preserves it right away. Who knows how he got to this point?
I can tell you, lots of animals and bodies.
Yeah. So, injected at the precise moment of death, this chemical is like, it's it. Like he and apparently it works.
Yeah.
So, Wes reveals to the narrator that he has a dead man here, and he is ready to go. Yeah. And he waited for you to get home. He's like, but we got to go right now. But this dead man was a traveling salesman, right? And
played by me. And this
a lot of padding of your forehead with your handkerchief.
And it's like not me shave my head. It's like I am now, where it's like my hair is like this, you know, and I'm like, I was on a bender before.
Loosen Rodney Dangerfield style.
Yeah.
Perfect. We already cast this part.
Yeah.
And he was traveling, and he stopped at their cottage here to rest. He had this long walk through the area here, but when he arrives at the cottage, West is able to see that he's this journey had a hard effect on him, and literally just keels over and has a heart attack right in front of him.
And it's just one of those like perfect timing things where like I pictured it too, like him just like, I can't believe this. Like, oh my God, this fell in my lap. Like, oh,
he's like trembling to get the needle.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm a doctor. You know?
Yep. And luckily, hey, what a great situation he finds himself in.
Yep.
He was able to preserve him right away using this new embalming fluid,
serum,
whatever you want to call it, this new whatever it is. And he was waiting, for the narrator return, so he can, reanimate this thing. And he wants to do it together because, like you said, he's complicit in these things, and how can I do this without you? This is this is what we do. So he gets back and they're all set up.
You're my guy.
My number one guy. Yeah. He probably did say that.
Yeah. Because this actually happened. This is This is reality.
Yeah, of course. So Wes goes ahead and injects the body with his latest version of the serum. Mm-hmm. Right? And signs of life gradually begin to appear in the corpse, right? And the narrator decides to ask questions to the man, which is kind of interesting, right? Mm-hmm. And he's answering these questions, and the mouth starts to like word responses, which is weird. No sound, but just the mouth is making these shapes, right?
To preserve life, the galaxy is on Orion's belt.
Right.
That's what he was mouthing.
I've ordered us some pierogi.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Give him a break.
I'll put my hand. Oh my God. Sorry,
folks. Sugar water.
Quite literally.
So just before the man returns to death again, which unfortunately is the case, he begins screaming and thrashing like violently, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost like he's reliving his last moments. It's like I thought he just died of a heart attack. Right?
Yeah.
He's thrashing and he's screaming, and all of a sudden, before he falls dead, the corpse says, "Help! Keep off, you cursed little toe-headed fiend! Keep that damn needle away from me!" Mm-hmm. And we get that next step. We see that next step that was always there, and we know that Wes just murdered him.
Yeah, and without even he. At that point, I was like, does he even think that it's gonna work? Because, he knows that they might come back, and if he starts talking and telling what happened, or does he not care?
West is Jason Alexander in Blank Man. He's in the newsroom just throwing darts, and it usually ends up as S&M sex. No.
He's not in the wheelchair. Yeah.
No, but he deserves to be.
Yeah, he should be.
No, what I'm saying is, I think he just goes, and this portion just is there to show you that either he's made the turn or he always was there, that he'll do whatever he needs to do to achieve his goals. Now, I think he was just waiting for the perfect moment. He probably had that syringe in his coat pocket all the time. Yeah. He saw this guy having a heart attack. He's like, he's going to die anyway. Or maybe not, but what if I inject it right before he dies anyway and just sticks him?
That the eyes you just made,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
I love going with toe-headed.
Toe-headed just means blonde, yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I was thinking he's saying he has
toe-head means blonde.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? That's weird.
I don't know either, but that's what it means.
The more you know.
Keep that damn needle away from me.
Yeah.
But and this is a succinct section. This is the shortest section. Yeah. Language is fine, but this is it. I mean, this is really what we get from here.
Yeah, it's just showing you. Yeah, it's showing you the progression, or it's just the willingness that at this point can't be fresh enough. I don't have the time to waste. I need to get to work.
Right, and we also see, and also the narrator comes to his realization here too, because now he sees. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know what this guy's going to do.
Am I next?
Right. If I present myself, what if I fall and hurt myself, or something happens to me? He's gonna go after me right away. So he's already starting to.
I'm valuable in complete form, with all my parts and nothing gimpy. With all my parts and nothing hurt or broken. Yeah. But the second,
Yeah. So he knows that this isn't a friendship. He's just there. He's his assistant. employee, sure, but as soon as he becomes not that thing, he'll find a way to get rid of him. So this is the big turn for him. So, and that's really the end of that section. I mean, that's it. You can't really be more pointed than that. That it's, you know, if West comes across somebody that's weak and he can take advantage of them, which he clearly has done in the past, he's going to do it. That's all there is to it. So, and that moves us into the next section.
The horror from the shadows.
And this is where we get some of the big happenings of this story. This is where, you know, West has his real big movements here, his big boy time, right?
Yeah.
This is 5 years later, and West and the narrator become involved in World War I.
It's just so crazy.
Because his only reason for getting involved in the war is because he wants dead bodies.
Yeah, and parts.
Yeah, specifically freshly killed men in every state of dismemberment.
Yep.
Because now he has his whole philosophy, right? Not only is it that there's no soul, but like, oh, life is just these chemical and electrical impulses.
Yeah.
If I take an arm that's severed, if I, you know, figure out what I need to do to make it be alive again, I can make this arm be a thing on its own. I can make this leg be its thing on its own. So this is the section where it moves from, yes, the hysterical, but also the monstrous, like really, because he really is left to his own devices, because he's this trusted doctor on the battlefield that just all these bodies and dying people, and you know he's sticking people with the reagent who probably would have made it.
Yeah.
And
instead of he's like, this is just morphine.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But no, it's not. It's my serum.
Yeah, and
he's done some good though.
Sure.
You know, like they said that he he did some work to like help. He's like, he actually did some stuff and like sewed up some people and fixed some stuff. But in my head, I'm like, he was just learning where this connects to this.
Everything is self-serving. If it's viewed as good, it's only because of that coincidentally.
He's like, it looked all right to me.
Yeah, you know? Sure. And also at this point, the narrator comes to the point where he finds West himself more horrible than the deeds that he does. He actually makes the distinction, and Howard lays it out in this passage.
His interest became a hellish and perverse addiction to the repellently and fiendishly abnormal. He gloated calmly over artificial monstrosities which would make most healthy men drop dead from fright and disgust. He became, behind his pallid intellectuality, a fastidious Baudelaire of physical experiment, a languid Elagabalus of the tomb.
Yeah, and when I read that, I was like, he's a bad guy. I don't know what most of those words mean.
Well, he's just he revels, and he's almost like he's a master of the macabre here. It's like he revels in all that is ghoulish and just wrong. You know, he revels in it because it's wrong.
Yeah,
and you know, you can easily see how his character is probably like, this is shunned and ghoulish by other people. And I have to go back to the word ghoulish because it kind of encapsulates it.
It's one and the same at this point.
But he's the things that are shunned and wrong, maybe that's the way I need to go, because that's where I'm going to find the next step.
It's going to break me through to the other side if I abandon, all that, that what makes me human. I have to go into what I'm trying to bring back. I have to be this machine to an end.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we get the next section where we come to that point where he's now serving as a medic in Flanders, and West has gone beyond the point of just, like I mentioned, simply trying to reanimate the corpses. His experiments now include isolating parts of the body and reanimating them independently in this attempt to prove that they're just like machine parts. There's nothing sentimental about it. A human body isn't anything that should be like, it's this work of God. It's not. It's just this. It's like a meat
car.
robot.
It's a car. It's it's anything. A machine. It's a bread slicer.
And I think this is where he really doubles down on. Some people don't think so, but I definitely think so. This is where he really zeroes in on the Frankenstein aspect.
Right.
Because right here with this admission at this point, this is like Frankenstein times 10. He's not just trying to do one and say, look at this thing that I did. He's trying to pigeonhole all of humanity and say we're just these things that and I have this. Once I have this reagent that's perfect and this embalming thing that's perfect,
I am God.
Yeah. Yeah, and they talk about that, right? Every surgeon, doctor has that God complex. Well, this guy's got it in spades, and now that he's come up with this thing, every person here is just material for him to work on.
Yeah.
So The world is an erector set.
Life is the canvas.
Yeah.
The tools are the brushes. People are the paint.
Yeah, Ken, you're just Connects.
I could be Connects.
Yeah.
And then I could help you get the ball away from the beast.
Yeah.
And catch it.
Absolutely.
Erector set.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yep. So, during this time, during all these experiments, there's rumors going about the camp or battlefield area about screams from his area, but also single gunshots.
Yeah. Whereas that's normal for the battlefield.
Right. Might be normal for the battlefield, but it's just a little odd. Oh, a single gunshot? Whatever. And it's remarked on, and it's kind of like a passing thing, but that just gives us the idea that he's experimenting. The things that he does are monstrous. They always come back as violent, monstrous creatures.
And he's just like...
Yep.
Yep.
Single shot. And that's it. I mean, it's...
It also tells us that he's gotten better at shooting.
Yeah. I mean, he's an old hat. It's old hat at this point. He does what he has to do. It's.
Do you think he got to the point where he had it in a holster and he was like quick drawing on him, like poof, like
Maybe. I think he liked to do the dramatic pause. Like he's like, you were to be my greatest creation. Single tear.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Look at the flowers.
No, there's no emotion from him. They even make a thing about it that he has no emotion. But then we also get mentioning this. I don't know exactly. I don't know where he was going with this. But this is where we get the mention of the reptile cell matter.
Yeah, and yeah, this turn here.
Yeah,
this is like okay, and you know why too? I think because the use of the eels in Frankenstein, he wanted to come with some other kind of organic thing to add into it. Because
do they mention electric eels in the book? I don't think they do. Do they?
I think they do. I mean, how else is going to generate that kind of electricity? It's been a while since I read the book. But
yeah, forgive our.
I think
I don't remember.
I mean, I think he would have had to. But anyway, I think this was kind of like even a play on going further than that, with breaking down his length of studying in science and understanding that there's something regenerative in the skin or flesh of reptiles,
right,
that it's like, okay, I can use this to splice. Right. So it makes it even more monstrous that you would even mix the two. You know what I mean?
I mean, obvious. I think it's kind of obvious, like, he's going for something of, lizards regenerate their tails, right? So I think that's what they're going for, because maybe it's like, all right, what's better than a reanimated, human being, but one that can also regenerate lost parts.
And if there's something that is I can't see that is being already like rigor mortis or something, any kind of cell degeneration, this could help regenerate it before that moment of coming back. Right.
So basically, he informed Resident Evil 4 with the regenerators before that even happened. Howard,
do you have to ask at this point?
Oh, I'm not asking. I'm telling.
Of course he did.
And also,
he beat Spider-Man to
I was about to say, why is Dr. Kirk Connors in this story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why he's in this story?
Because
Howard did it first.
That's correct. That is correct.
That it is correct.
That is correct. So they drop that in there, this is creating some kind of super monster that we're going to have to, battle later. But West befriends his commanding officer, but also fellow medic, and it's this Major Sir Eric Moreland Clapham Lee. That's a mouthful. And they discuss and share theories and methods of reanimation. Like he kind of has like a like-minded guy here.
This guy seems more shrewd though, and more battle-tested, and more like, I don't know, like.
Well, he's a sir.
Exactly.
He's got that. He probably has dabbled and didn't have to worry about going to a school to find corpses. He probably had his manservant go and fetch me a corpse.
He shows him the ring too.
Yeah.
Do you want this one?
Yeah, he's the guy from the transition of Juan Romero.
Yeah. He's like him.
He's one of the Germans,
but Canadian.
Okay, the German family in Canada.
Yeah, right.
I like it. Did they talk about him being a little hairy?
I think so. No. Yes.
So Arthur German versus this lizard character. comic book shit.
Arthur Jarman.
I know, he's your boy. I know.
I never, I don't know. That was like, that set my mind on
All right, we
fire.
can't go down this.
Yeah.
I can't have this conversation again. All right, so he has this new friend, but who is also his commanding officer, and
Hints of the professor back in.
Another mentor type, but also, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we reanimated this guy kind of idea.
Yeah.
And of course, shortly thereafter, Clapham Lee suffers near decapitation and dies when his plane is shot down. Right.
Yeah. Also, too, like, they do say that, like, this guy has knowledge. He could do it too. Like, he could.
Right, but it's like, because he has that knowledge, like, Lovecraft makes this like amalgamation of ideas that it's like, well, he's already thinking in that way, so he would be good for regeneration because he's thought about regeneration.
Yeah, like, it's in
like,
there, so we don't have to add this stuff. Yeah.
And it's crazy because, like, West immediately begins work on Clapham Lee's body, and his head is almost decapitated. He's nearly
like,
headless Nick.
He's like, he's like, nope, first we have to make him fully headless.
Fully headless, cuts the head off, and then injects the trunk of the body without the head with his new serum, and then places the head in a vat of the reptile cells.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And also does call it a trunk. Call the body a trunk.
Yeah.
That creeped me out.
Yeah,
that
that's what
was
it's called.
I know, but I hear torso. Because I watched First 48 and like all these true crime shows. Never heard trunk.
Yeah.
And for that to be called a trunk, that creeped me out.
Yeah, off the page, Howard's fist, trunk.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it is gross.
Isn't it?
It is, definitely is.
If he said stump, I would have threw the book away.
Nice. So, as has happened with previous experiments, or the most previous, the corpse comes to life and begins freaking out again, thrashing violently in what seems to be, again, it reliving its last moments of life. Like, it, trying to get out of the plane or fucking around. Whoa!
It's flapping.
Yeah. Pulling at the ripcord of the chute. And I don't know why, but this little line got to me where he says, "Then the headless thing threw out its arms in a gesture which was unmistakably one of desperation." It's like, but without the head, it's like reaching. Like, is it reliving its last moments, or is it like, what am I doing here, kind of thing? Like, and I have no head.
I think it got out of the plane and was because what the next line is.
Right. Or was he just being extreme? I don't know. Yes, of course. No, but so his what's crazy is, and once again, Howard sets it up like he sets it up the way where we Tarantino it a little bit, right? Yeah. Where he's like, but the severed head shouts from the tank of lizard cells, "Jump, Ronald! For God's sake, jump!" So the head is still functioning. So it's so weird because it's like the head is in the tank of lizard cells. So
that might be working.
Yeah.
To stop the brain cells from degenerating.
Yes.
And now, but also, here's where I split it. Mm-hmm. It could be that, and I at first, because when I drove down, I listened to it again. I listened to an audiobook telling of it. So the first read through, I was saying, yes, the head is yelling at the body to jump out the window to get away, right?
Yeah.
But my second listen, I'm thinking maybe the head being separate, maybe that was psyching itself out to jump out the plane.
Right.
At the last moment of death. But later on we find out.
Well, his name's not Ronald.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know.
He's probably talking to his buddy who's still in the plane.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
No, his name was Eric.
Eric, yeah.
Yeah. It's all good.
But I keep getting lost in my inner monologue, and like I said,
that's what happens though, because and Ken and I discussed this before we were recording. Like, when you first read these stories, you find yourself kind of like, you're like, is that what's happening? Because first you're battling with his antiquated language, and then you're battling with his very dense prose that he puts together here. So when you read this for the first time, and I know I'm not, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but when you read this for the first time, you get this this experience where you kind of have to reread passages.
Yeah, I'll get
few times.
Yeah, I'll get stuck in like a paragraph because one, all right, I'm visualizing.
Yeah.
2, I'm trying to process and think about it. And 3, I'm talking to myself about what I'm reading. So like I'll do this thing where like I'm getting caught up in that last thing that was just said, and then I go, whoa, and I got to go back.
Yeah.
And like, all right, wait. You know, like, hold on. And at some points, names don't even matter anymore. like there.
No, it's cool, and it makes sense because you're kind of, sometimes you grasp for like what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And the way that he writes this again, where he's purposely being vague because he wants to hit you with that last line that tells you what happens.
Yeah.
But no, I think you have it right. It's those lizard cells, whatever it is, they're keeping the brain is not degenerating, because that's clearly what happens. Because later on we see that this head is a genius. I mean, it doesn't do anything as wacky as in the movie, but
well, that wasn't genius. That was something else.
Yeah,
maybe he was good. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he was a cunning linguist.
Ooh, terrible.
I made a little naughty face though, so everyone that knows.
It's all good.
Pun intended.
But so they hear this voice come from the vat, which is without all like no, they hear it exactly.
Yeah.
Ew, lizards smell too. You ever have a pet lizard?
My uncle had all kinds of. I did have a lizard for a while.
Yeah.
Died.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Oh, okay. My brother used to have lizards in his room, like in all these tanks.
Mm-hmm. My Uncle John had snakes, lizards, turtles, all of it.
Yeah.
I had frogs and I had crabs. I had all this weird stuff too when I was a kid for a while. Nice. Newts.
I had newts. They're fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So the building is destroyed almost immediately after by a bombshell.
Yeah.
A cleansing bolt of lightning, if you will. Shout back to
the picture in the house.
And
the tomb.
Yes.
Okay.
Good man.
Sorry,
it's a cleansing bolt of lightning, but of a different form.
I get so enthralled in each story every day of the week that I always try to pull back, and names escape me. I will admit.
All good. So West and the narrator survive, of course, as they do, but no sign of Clapham Lee's head or body.
Yeah.
And that's where we get to the end of that section.
Right, so like we're setting up for a Metal Gear Solid villain here.
Yes.
It's a Metal Gear villain.
Yes, this is Reptile Snake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Headless Snake.
Yeah, it's wax face instead of skull face. It's like,
yeah, this is Headless Snake versus
bodiless snake.
Big Lizard.
Big Lizard.
No, seriously.
Yeah,
they are setting it up, and it's a fun time.
This is like, I was so confused my first read through here.
Yeah.
Like, because like I knew okay, boom, get that. And like now I'm like, so what pieces are we picking up here? Like, and once again, my inner monologue is going. I'm picturing the scenes, the explosion. We're worried about the head. We're worried about the body, right? So I'm there, just like, okay, all right, and they made it. Okay, so that's done. Life goes on, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, okay, life goes on. What's next? Like, what can he do now?
Oh, well, now it's time for the chickens to come home to roost.
Exactly. I'm like, is he now like we were talking about earlier? Is he now he's like, I'm just gonna wear cardigans around my house and just chill? Like, is that what I'm doing now?
Never.
Oh yeah, no, because they still have a furnace in the basement.
Get to it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that brings us into the next section, and our next part, Ken's favorite title, at least we get.
The Tomb Legion.
Extra echo.
Yeah, like, dude, the Tomb Legions.
Oh, it's so good, dude. So, a year after returning from the war, West has moved into this elegant house, which overlooks one of the oldest burial grounds in Boston. All right, and it's kind of funny because they even say that this is just for like aesthetic purposes, because this is an old burial ground.
Yeah.
He can't use any of these bodies. They're bones, or maybe even less at this point.
Yeah, some other mind that like is better at what he does has to figure something out.
Right.
Here.
So he just loves it for its ghoulishness. Well, they're in Boston.
And he gets to look over, like, it's calming because he's like, I can't do my work here.
Right.
This is just like, it's the stop sign.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm surrounded with the macabre, but there's nothing to be done here.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like an ex-smoker. They have that, like, in case of break cigarette that they carry around,
Yeah.
Room 1408.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. And, of course, in his home, he has a wonderful laboratory that's in a sub-cellar. Ew.
mounted heads on the no.
I mean, and then, you're in a basement. Imagine there's another basement under it. Sure. That's prime. Mm-hmm. And they have, of course, a large incinerator for body disposal because, he's not going to stop because I guess he hasn't gotten to his goal yet.
Yeah. And also, he might just dig up the bodies to burn them because he misses, like, the smell.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He's like, those were good times. It's like when you walk into your childhood home on Christmas, you're like, yeah, that brings back all those memories.
Yeah, you need the sensory experience. Like when Captain Spaulding shoots the guy and then he immediately sniffs in the sorry for the Rob Zombies. That's not even right.
That's wild.
It is wild. So we get this great passage here.
During the excavation of this cellar, the workmen had struck some exceedingly ancient masonry, undoubtedly connected with the old burying ground, yet far too deep to correspond with any known sepulchre therein. After a number of calculations, West decided that it represented some secret chamber beneath the tomb of the Averils, where the last interment had been made in 1768. I was with him when he studied the nitrous, dripping walls laid bare by the spades and mattocks of the men, and was prepared for the gruesome thrill which would attend the uncovering of Century Grave. But for the first time, West's new timidity conquered his natural curiosity, and he betrayed his degenerating fiber by ordering the masonry left intact and plastered over.
So this is important, and this obviously sets some things up, but, in this sub-cellar, they break through this wall, and there's tunnels of some sort.
That he wasn't anticipating?
He didn't know it was going to be. It was definitely these chambers that was beneath this other tomb. Mm-hmm. He's like, all right, I don't like it. And he says in...
I don't like it, get rid of it.
I don't like it, get rid. I hate it. But he says that, the narrator says that it's like, oh, well, this new timidity conquered his natural curiosity. I don't think so. I think it's more like, I can't use any of this.
Yeah.
Wall it up.
And also, too, he might be like, these shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'm not going exploring out there.
Right.
Cut this off because there's something fishy going on.
Also, I have enemies out there.
Yeah.
This is another way to get into me.
Yeah.
To get to me.
Yeah.
Wall it up.
Yeah. Fast now.
Fast now. Don't want to ever see it again.
Get guns? Did you bring guns with your shovels? That's the kind of timid I'm picturing. You know what I mean? How about picturing oh no, there's a...
No, he's not timid. He's crazy over the top paranoid because he knows that, hey, let me think. All the creatures I created, I can't honestly say definitively that they're all dead.
Well, one was in a hospital for 16 years.
Yeah. I shot one with 6 bullets. Who says that killed it? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking...
throwing darts.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
crazy.
Like, but I'm a doctor, so...
I'm a doctor, don't forget.
My brother, I'm a doctor.
So, of course, we get, while reading the newspaper one night... I love this. As soon as that came up, I was
I love the next description of it. Yeah.
West comes across an article detailing a series of strange, seemingly nonsensical events involving, I guess, a riot or a break-in at the Sefton Insane Asylum where Halsey, Mr. was being held.
Yeah, where he did cannibal things.
Cannibal guy. And they describe him as a wax-headed man with painted glass eyes. We know who this is.
Yeah.
Followed by a group of disturbing-looking followers carrying a box. Demanded that the detained cannibal killer, Halsey, be released to them. Now, they describe this group. It's all the guys.
Yeah.
It's all of them.
Yeah.
It's the first guy.
It's Harlem Smoke.
It's Harlem Smoke. It's Halsey. It's the first guy, the workman who drowned.
Yeah.
It's the guy who died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then it's Clapham Lee with his wax head and the painted eyes, looking like that's horrific. I was thinking about that. I was like, ew. You come to
right, and that's what I was saying to you, that I had this moment of because I forgot the box because you're getting caught up in this stuff.
Yes.
And I knew the head was in the box the first read through, but then on my way down, I was listening again, and I was like, oh wait, maybe he got the head and he put it back on his body and in the wax. Yeah. And I know that's but he gets you spun up, man.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Yeah.
You know, you've got this ragtag crew over here, and then you got this guy who's the instructions are coming from noises are coming from the box giving them instructions, but then there's this just expressionless wax head on top of this military-like body that they say. And no matter what way you slice it, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. He's wearing that Canadian officer's uniform that we've seen before.
Which already you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You're like,
is this some kind of weird stolen valor kind of thing going on?
Yeah. But then you're like, oh no, it's not.
It's not. But then you're like, well, we demand to see him. I'm a military man. Be like, yeah, but you're Canadian.
Yeah. You're like, you don't. Yeah. You have no authority here.
Yeah, this is fucking Boston.
Yeah, right. You got your hockey over there. We like hockey over.
It gets weird.
I love how he's like reading the article and he's like looking back and forth between the narrator and the thing.
Yeah. Right, and it's clearly what's going on here. So this crew, man,
dude, like, it's so cool.
It is.
It's so funny too, because like, I didn't expect like a team up. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't expecting like it's like Ted Danson and the chick in a Creep Show coming back, but like more of them. Yeah, and it's like, I was like,
if you took Creep Show and took all those characters at the end and had them come after somebody at the end, it'd be like that.
It's like they come after the dad in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I was taken aback. I was like, I wasn't expecting.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful. And then they all have costumes and themes. Yeah. Like, they're all different things.
Yeah.
And
right. It's like an undead version of the X-Men.
It's 100% that.
You got Professor X with no head.
Yeah, it's in the body. And
you got the Beast. You got
yeah, you do. You got Cyclops. I don't know.
I don't know. But it's pretty damn cool.
It's pretty damn cool.
So when this crew gets refused exchange for Halsey, they take him by force, and by force I mean they beat, trample, and bite any of the attendants that don't flee. Because Halsey, once he gets out, he's eating people, just ripping people into pieces.
And they're watching, they're loving it.
Yeah, but then all of them probably go berserk.
Oh yeah, because they see it. They're like, I want to do that too. Yeah. Someone throws the head at it's like the bowler from Mystery Man.
Yeah,
and it comes back.
Exactly. That's where they got that. See, Howard came up with that too.
Yeah. Sorry, Janine Garoppolo. Late to the party.
Wasn't she kind of always though?
Yeah.
So after he reads this, West, he's in like a catatonic state, right? Yeah. And then there's a.
Wouldn't you be?
Yeah, like
they're all okay.
Yeah,
they're all like
it's fine.
That's what the narrator says.
It's fine, but. There comes a knock at the door, right? And the narrator goes, answers the door, and that West was like comes to the door. He's like, Herbert, you want to get the door? He's like, no, I mustn't.
Yeah,
you do it.
It's your turn. I did it last time.
You do it. Yeah. So he opens the door. And he finds the group is standing there, and I'm guessing because it's at night that he doesn't see what's going on. But could you imagine this? Like one guy's like, it's like,
and they're all kind of like,
yep. And then he's like, but the box says
like prepaid
express. How is this not funny?
Yeah.
Prepaid express
in from the box.
Yeah.
And he's like.
And the narrator's like, okay,
I guess I'll put this here.
All right. And then
he's like tip, and they're like, no tip. Oh, I saw some tip from earlier. And he goes, all right, no tip. Flash the money, close it. Wait.
The box is addressed to West from Clapham Lake.
Yeah, and it's his full name and current address.
Yep, everything's perfect. But he just leaves this ragtag group on the doorstep. It's so good. So Wes refuses to open the box, right? And he insists that we're gonna burn this fucking thing.
He's like, no, this is gone.
And they go ahead and they carry it down to the basement to burn it. And we get this wonderful passage to wrap this all up here.
It was West who first noticed the falling plaster on that part of the wall where the ancient tomb masonry had been covered up. I was going to run, but he stopped me. Then I saw a small black aperture, felt a ghoulish wind of ice, and smelled the charnel bowels of a putrescent earth. There was no sound. But just then the electric lights went out, and I saw outlined against some phosphorescence of the netherworld a horde of silent, toiling things which only insanity, or worse, could create. Their outlines were human, semi-human, fractionally human, and not human at all. The horde was grotesquely heterogeneous. They were removing the stones quietly, one by one, from the centuried wall. And then, as the breach became large enough, they came out into the laboratory in single file, led by a stalking thing with a beautiful head made of wax. A sort of mad-eyed monstrosity behind the leader seized on Herbert West. West did not resist or utter a sound. Then they all sprang at him and tore him to pieces before my eyes, bearing the fragments away into that subterranean vault of fabulous abomination. West's head was carried off by the wax-headed leader, who wore a Canadian officer's uniform. As it disappeared, I saw that the blue eyes behind the spectacles were hideously blazing with their first touch of frantic, visible emotion. Servants found me unconscious in the morning. West was gone. The incinerator contained only unidentifiable ashes. Detectives have questioned me, but what can I say? The Sefton tragedy. They will not connect with West. Not that nor the men with the box, whose existence they deny. I told them of the vault, and they pointed to the unbroken plaster wall and laughed. So I told them no more. They imply that I am a madman or a murderer. Probably I am mad, but I might not be mad if those accursed tomb legions had not been so silent.
Two things. First one.
Golf clap?
No. Slow clap
Okay.
up into the...
Yeah.
And, all right, two things this instantly reminded me of.
Okay.
The episode of Tales from the Crypt, Gary Connick Jr., the news crew in, when they first open the basement doors and they come marching up.
Yes.
Okay? First visual, it's not as like, it's not a team, but it's, you know, all the spirits there. Two, Trick or Treat, the Boss Kids.
Yeah.
Them showing up the way they look, like just that whole thing. This sets up so many good story endings.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. I don't want to be like, it's so badass, but it is.
Yeah.
It really is. And you're right with the humor, because he's doing the thing of like, oh, it's all these characters from these different things. It's kind of funny in the fact that one of them, the smarter one, that somehow in his own reptile juice made the head smart enough to be like, I can corral them. Yeah. I can figure this out because I had thought of this. Yeah. And you messed up by keeping my head alive.
Yeah. Because it took what was already there and made those brain cells were like, you know, they were expanded by you know, combining them with reptile
And I'm
cells.
sure that like the head started growing roots in the bottom. You know, like, you know, dude.
What if the head started growing like reptile feet?
It might have. And it looks like a little T-Rex. Remember in Tekken? Remember Tekken the dinosaur? Yeah. Dude,
or maybe just like the head from the thing.
No, because that seemed kind of dumb. Not like it was smart in its own way. Yeah. Like this is like a thoughts for our world. Not just like I have to breed. This is like, he wanted. Oh, he's like, oh, eh? You wanted? Oh, you thought you were gonna bring me back, eh? You know, it was like, no, I'll get your friends, eh?
You gotta make sure that character has like a very thick Canadian accent.
And his end game was after they got him, after they got, you know, our main baddie here. They formed a hockey team.
Oh, I without a doubt.
Yeah. But no, all jokes aside, it's such a great ending.
Yeah.
And every chapter of this is good. There's not one chapter, because, they're all installments. Yeah. And they're all creepy. And they're all awesome. And it's all so good. And, like, you know, you worry, especially when you're getting into something. You kind of think, like, you know, like, our time, especially as, you know, people that work and have families and do stuff, like, it's like, how limited is my time? But also, like, when you get to something like this, it's all worth it. Yeah. Because, like, the story, especially going back to it, I imagine it's even tougher, and taking notes on it for something like this. Oh, we just had a great time. Oh, this is so good. And me and you can make jokes about this now forever, because it's like, God, what a great story. And, dude, everything cannibalized this, pun intended, for movies, shows,
Yeah.
stories. Like,
Yeah.
this set a stage, man.
Yeah.
That, like, I understand why you want to take from it. I might take from it for next year's Halloween album. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did Frankenstein last year.
Yeah. Now
Man,
maybe time for Herbert West.
yeah, exactly. But like, oh man, what a cool take on something,
Yeah.
and just like what a parade of lunatics that were
Yeah.
all the people like.
Yeah.
And a lesser man might have thought that it was the bodies from the grave, maybe
Yeah,
they dug
yeah.
out, maybe his chemicals leaked
yeah.
in, which they've done.
Sure.
Which is also a take that you can take from this. You're like, oh, you know what? What if these
Yeah.
chemicals, blah blah blah, and they were tunneling? No, it was obviously the the gang, the Canadian gang of
The crew.
The crew. I sorry I interrupted you again, but it's just it's so beautiful. it's so wonderful.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad that this is a story that the last one as well. I'm glad that this story that is created a movie that a lot of horror fans know of and enjoy, but now you can go back and you can see where it came from,
Yeah.
and that the source material you can realize and that you see as far greater than the movie that came out of it.
Yeah, and the thing that sucks is they probably, I don't know if they did, but no, he probably didn't. He probably had his own, screenplay written up of how he wanted it.
Oh, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure he wasn't like, let's do this, and some studio exec
No,
was
no,
like, no one wants to see that, but
I doubt it was that way. I think
Yeah.
he definitely had his take on it.
that sucks, man.
Because which we will get to. We'll have to do a viewing of this and From Beyond, because he takes the same approach with From Beyond. So it's
Right.
he definitely has his mode. Stuart Gordon has his mode of the way that he adapted these.
sucks.
Sorry.
I'm just saying it sucks because like this is so good.
Yeah.
And like, I was a reader at times. I haven't been, but like, this story is just so superior that anything you could kind of put out. And once again, it influenced so much other stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. And honestly, the end of this led me to my tirade last night talking about family issues. Because I was like, it's not appreciated, Good
DNA.
writing, and reptile DNA, and good writing, and these. Oh, and another thing, I'm upset with my family right now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it is frustrating, and like, of course, I take the comedy edge because it's my defense mechanism. But no, it's just, dude, it's so funny that like I love the team up. The team up at the end is just like,
No, it's great. It's the consequences of all of his actions
Right.
come together,
Right.
And
kind of tongue in cheek, like
kind of tongue.
Yeah.
Not even kind of. It's definitely
Yeah.
there, and they come back and they,
Yeah.
like I said before, the chickens come home to roost, and he even they even say at the end there that like he doesn't make a sound at all. It just happens. He's
Yeah.
like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And it just happens.
Yeah, and that's wild. It's wild too, because like most other writers would have like with this story, of course, they would take that.
Yeah.
Like he would have got his some way, like, oh, and then he was robbed and got shot, or like he was stabbed, and it was like most of the time,
Sure.
the karma isn't like literally what you created doing it.
Yeah.
It'd be like an ambulance running him over, like something like.
Sure.
They like to do that artsy kind of like.
Yeah. Well, this is well before all that.
Yeah,
kind of
but
stuff.
I'm saying like that's how you say it. No, I love that it's like, no, the actual things you did.
Yeah.
Your horrors, they got you, bro. Like, it's not like, some cute little like the metaphor, No.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, because I think it's important that folks that read Lovecraft realize he did have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
It may have been a very black sense of humor, a very dark sense of humor, but it's definitely there, and it's behind a lot of his things, because if you don't see the humor in some of it, you miss it in some of the later stories, which you will see. You'll see when we get to some of them. But this was, as much as he derided himself for this story,
Yeah.
I think because it didn't fit into his box of what he wanted to. he definitely pulls from stuff here going further too, and you'll see it going on.
Right. And it's good. It's good to have this for me being the new guy, because like you said, reading this stuff we've talked about on this episode, like you kind of lose stuff, and it's good for me to talk about what I just read.
Yeah.
Especially and this was my favorite batch of 2 stories together that I read, because that's how we do it. I read 2, we record 2.
Yeah.
And this was my favorite batch so far, and they both got me excited. They both got me thinking about things, and I love doing this because afterward, Jay, who obviously has, done so much, more. He is my Mr. Lovecraft. He's my Mr. Lovecraft.
That's weird.
But no, it's he's the pro here. I'm the novice. So talking to him after this, after reading these, and he connects dots for me that I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I should have got that, and then I have those moments of I should have known, but I shouldn't have, because it's my first way through, and I just love doing these after reading them, because it forms it, right? It's it's all out here, and then I do the video game side, puzzle, and it all connects it, and I'm and the door opens, and I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. It gives me the crib sheet, the notes.
Right. Well, but from my side, I get kind of the same kind of experience, but opposite, because even with almost all the stories, you've brought some things that I had never considered either. I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. Especially specifically in Eric Zahn, because you're a music guy.
Yeah.
So this is a cool climb up getting here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely hit another mile marker here, because
absolutely.
We've got some unbelievable stories coming up, a lot of the classics. We're about to hit hit his Nirvana Nevermind, because there's some
for you.
Relax. Everyone can appreciate that analogy.
Yeah. I just had to do that.
Yeah, I know.
Before we go any further, I want to say it. Hey guys, fans, listeners, my brothers and sisters in this journey, you guys have been awesome listening, and man, we're seeing people join us for this, and it's pretty awesome, and we got some irons in the fire, and no, man, there's so much more coming, and I already know this because I look in this man's eyes and I see the joy. But no, it's been fun, and we've done this a couple times, but the holidays, we had to take that little break just because life is insane, and you get to mix the holidays in, and you guys didn't stop. They didn't stop.
No, it's great, because I was not that I was fearful or anything like that, or even reticent, but I was like, all right, there's been Lovecraft podcast before, and we're going through all the stories, and clearly, the big Lovecraft podcast, HP Podcraft, love them. I've always loved their stuff. But I was like, I just want to make sure this isn't too similar. And it's not. I mean, we're doing our own thing. So I was like, well, hopefully this isn't too, this isn't ground that was already, tread. But no, I mean, folks, we really appreciate it. People reaching out, people, telling us that they're reading along with us. Even some, constructive criticism, which we always welcome.
Yeah.
But just, we're 2 horror nerds, 2 monster kids talking about this stuff. I just happen to have read it first.
Yeah.
And, like we said in the beginning, I wanted to share this with Ken, and I think he's enjoying it.
Oh, I totally am. It's fun to get excited about, not just having a visual stimulant or someone's depiction of some story.
Yeah.
It's so good to actually do it in order. I couldn't do it without you. Some order, the actual order in which I should be reading it, and I like that. I like my hand being held through this kind of stuff.
Well, it's good because and that was going to be my next question, which is great because now you can see where it's building. You can certainly see how he got from the tomb to this.
Yeah, and I still love the tomb.
Oh, it's a great story,
and but it's super Poe. It's super moody.
Yes.
In its own right, and The Outsider.
Yeah.
Until now, there's this weird jump.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I loved The Outsider.
Yeah.
I loved it, but there's this weird jump in these last few that I don't know, man. They feel there's more of a flow with this because kind of dropping down on the explanation or the description of structure and going more into the description of action and what's happening. And I don't know if that's a thing that just happened with these two or if it's going to keep going that way, but it definitely seems like his tools have gotten smaller, if that makes sense. Like the details
and more precise.
Yeah.
He's got more precision tools.
Yeah.
Maybe before he was working with wood tools, now he's working with, steel tools.
Yeah, and eventually I'm sure we'll get to lasers.
Oh, yes, we will. I think, and that's a great question, and I think that that's definitely true. I think The Outsider, the great story that it is, I think that was a personal exorcism of his Poe.
Okay.
That was such a Poe story that I think he looked back and said, wow, that's a Poe story. It is good. It is great. But I think he was like, you know what? I need to add, and around this time he even said, there's a famous quote about by him where he says, there's my Dunsany pieces and there's my Poe pieces.
I'm sorry.
But where's my Lovecraft pieces?
Right.
And after he says that, he writes Music of Eric Zahn. So you caught on to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Wow. Okay, yeah. Because I texted Jay last night after reading the Music of Eric Zahn, and I was just like, it's fucking banger. And then it was late because I had a big day yesterday. But then when I got to this, I didn't even want to talk to him about it. I wasn't going to do a late night text. This is such a cool. It's just overall influential. It's like all these different themes are here, and all these different funny things that have been used. And even if they know it or not, it's comedy. It is. And
it's also very accessible because he was made to shave it down and keep it into these 6 sections. Whether he, like we said earlier, whether he liked it or not, it was in service to the story and it made it more accessible to people.
I would like it if they did do it like a 6-part series.
Yeah.
They should do it where it's 6 different detectives in the same department coming in to question him.
Okay.
And that's why he's doing the recap, because they're all out there and they all talk. So you tell the story, you have the actual story told, but they're all outside the room and you do it in the same time. It's like this is what you just add a little thing outside of it to make it a little longer of just the detectives' conversations. Then you go in and you get the narrative, and then it goes to the actual live story of it. You know what I mean? Right. That's how I would adapt this and interpret it. Only add just subtle, we got to go in and question this guy again. You have the beginning interactions, and then he just goes into the story, and then it plays out live. You know? But I mean, I guess I have at least one actor I know who I would like to play.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, what's his name? The main character. I'll cut this. What's his name? The main guy. West.
Herbert West.
What is it?
Herbert West.
Herbert West. Jesus, I'm sorry. Like I said, names escape me earlier. Pick it up back here. So I guess for the Herbert West, I know I'm not a big fan of him, but I think he'd be good for this. Evan Peters. Blonde, and if he wasn't doing his bulking thing,
that's actually I would go with that.
Because him as was it Bundy?
Dahmer.
Or Dahmer, sorry, Dahmer, where he was oh geez, Dad, the whole time. No, but him playing this character, I think if he was just cold and going forward, I think he could pull it off. Because I seen him with the glasses, I seen him with the blonde hair, and I seen him skinny when he was younger. So if I think if he played this straight and wasn't H.H. Holmes in that one season of friggin' American Horror Story, if he just played it straight and it's just not fresh enough, I think he could pull it off. And the narrator, this is so weird. This is this is probably my worst take.
Okay.
I don't know why I say it. Jason Biggs, from American Pie. It's so weird that because I just feel he'd be the guy I'm going along. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I see that. And also I would like to take a guy that is just falling apart. And put him back into something, and let him have it. Let him go run with it.
I could see that. This is random as hell, and this is because I live in a house with a rabid Harry Potter fan. I want to see this with Harry Potter. What's his name? Daniel Radcliffe.
So much better
as Herbert West.
So much better.
And the kid that played Draco Malfoy as the narrator.
Dude, yours was so much better.
It's all right.
No.
That's a contest.
No. But because I actually
I'm blonde.
Yeah, I have
Throw
this
the glasses
new
back
appreciation for Daniel Radcliffe. I've seen some stuff he's done recently, and comedy stuff too.
Yeah.
But I've
The Woman in Black. Yeah. But reverse it because they're known as the hero and villain in those.
Yeah.
But reverse it. So have like the kid that plays Draco. I don't know his name. Is it Tom something? I forget the kid's name.
It's Draco Malfoy.
That's his name. Okay. Just calling people mudbloods the whole time.
Yeah. My fault.
So having him like being horrified, and then they have like Daniel Radcliffe just wasn't fresh enough.
Yeah. My dad. My dad
was a swine.
Yeah. My dad didn't strut. That kind of stuff.
I just. All right. I got enough of that with my wife.
Yeah. No, seriously, that yours is good, man. That's really
and
good.
And then I went further down the rabbit hole because I was like, oh, if I'm doing Potter already, I might as well cast Potter actors as the
rest of the crew.
The rest of the crew. So I was like, well, I mean, Halsey should be either Professor Slughorn, the one who tells him about the Horcruxes.
Yeah.
That's what's his name? Jim. I can't remember the names, but he'd be kind of good as that.
Yeah.
Because he's got kind of that. Well, how are you? But you take the reverse, so you make him a little more. Or you could have Ralph Fiennes as
the Canadian officer.
No, have Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Halsey.
Okay.
Where he's this like beast.
I like
that'd
that
be a
better.
cool thing.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Because Red Dragon.
Exactly, and that's where I went.
Yeah.
And then as the Canadian, Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Gary Oldman,
with his reptile head.
Yes. He's in there. Yeah, that's good. Damn you, that's good.
Right.
Evan Peterson can fuck himself.
I don't know, man. I just went for that.
That's better. Because I went with like obscure for like, I was like, who could maybe do something, but yours is better.
But for the boxer, Harlem Smoke, I'd have to go with Denzel. Because he brings that gravitas to the performance,
and maybe Hurricane,
exactly, Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
And he could have that that pain behind the eyes that would work.
He's a little old though.
Yeah, but we're out of time when we're casting this.
You're right.
We're casting outside of time.
We're going glory.
Yeah.
Denzel.
So yeah, Denzel Prime, like when he did
Virtuosity.
Sid 6.6. No, like Training Day, Training Day, or
shot me there,
or Malcolm X, or any of his great roles, or Glory.
Yeah,
any of his,
That's the first one I said.
I didn't hear you. Sorry. So yeah, man.
No, that's good. Or you go Michael Jai White. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you never go Michael Jai White.
Unless you're Mike Tyson in the original movie, which was really good.
That was good. Stop. That was good. It's an HBO movie.
HBO
let's not go into this.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are just a few. But I went down this rabbit hole of like, oh, do it like reverse Potter. Like the bad guys be the good guys.
It'd be funny if I was like, let's do reverse Star Wars the prequels. I was like, so Obi-Wan, I'm like Ewan McGregor, and then you have Hayden Christensen,
Oof.
That'd be funny because we did that. We did do that when we talked about that was our other podcast.
Right. I think I like your picks too, but it's I'm just having a good time with it. Yeah. Folks, if you have some ideas of who you would cast in any of our stories previously, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah, do some AI work. Send us some pictures.
Yeah, do some AI work. Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe as Herbert West-Reanimator.
Dude, that's so good. No, because his stature, his size, that's perfect.
Wasn't fresh enough.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
my dad! He freaks out. I love it.
The guy who played, he's dead. Robbie Coltrane plays the guy who has the heart attack and he sticks him with the needle. Yeah. Or it could be the guy who played Mr. Weasley.
Or Hagrid.
Oh, Harry, I'm having a heart attack. And he's just like, sticks him. I don't know. I don't know.
All right,
Well, I think that's all it's once again fit to print for Herbert West-Reanimator. Hope you enjoyed our first two-part.
I had a blast.
Yep. I had fun. I mean, yeah, we had a good time. It's
we strayed a lot on this one, but it was a meaty topic.
Well, it's a meaty topic, and it's rife with conversation.
Yeah, because there's so much.
It lends
in
itself.
there.
It definitely lends itself.
There was so much in there that the other stuff is taken from, and
yep.
I love this.
Yep. Next time we'll be covering Hypnos, which is not nearly as good as this story, but it's what you do.
I'm gonna come in cursing, and I know,
dude. You take me from this to that. But hey, it's. But after that, man, it is.
I just actually I send you an email of my points. I'm like, just read this and record it yourself.
I don't want to learn this story.
Yeah, right.
Nah, it's all good. All right, well, thank you for joining us for the conclusion of our first 2-part episode of Learning Lovecraft. I've been Jason McKittrick.
Ken James over here.
And we'll see you beyond the Wall of Sleep.
This is Rachel's Bay.